Okay, I'm making this video to ask a question, and my question is about mic placement. And let me explain before anybody tells me that I have to build a studio. I'm not going to spend any more money on this project. I just like to actually deliberately not spend money on it and see what I can do with the tools that I have. And so far it's been working out pretty good. We consist of bass, drums, saxophone, and keyboards, and any combination of those three. So we play in my garage here, and these are my tools. These are my brushes, a MXL 603S Mogami. I don't know why this video is so blurry. And then two Avenson STO2s. And I have a 2-channel Sound Devices 702. It's old, but it's got beautiful preamps. And don't argue with me about preamps. You don't know the difference until you really start mixing with it and mastering it, and then you'll see that whatever goes in here is going to be a much clearer picture than something that goes through a Scarlett USB or something like that. Anyway, so I'll use any combination of these. Usually I use one omni and one directional. And don't be fooled by the MXL. This is a super nice sounding microphone. I got it as an extra with some other mic that I bought of theirs a long time ago, but it just outperforms everything else that I've tried. Anyway, so these are my brushes and this is my canvas, and I'm going to stick with that for recording a whole band. And then the room, I really like the room. The room's turned out great. So it's half of my garage. So there's the car and my tools, and then there's the drum set, and then if I turn around you can see where the amps are for the keys and the sax. So the way I set it up was to put the bass amp back by the drums thing. Anyway, so what I usually do is put an omni over here equidistant from the bass amp and the snare somewhere. Sometimes down, I've tried down below, and I've tried behind, I've tried above. Above works best, and then the other directional mic, I'll just put it the same distance from these amplifiers over here. I know that low frequencies are bigger, so maybe, this should be a different distance, but I'm not going to worry. I'm going to make about the same from here. And I haven't had a problem with that because the cancellation on the cardioid mic does a good job canceling out all the sound coming from behind it from the drums. So that's not bad. I mean, I like bleed, just not way too much. And that's my problem is, so as musicians, when we play, we want to stand in close proximity with each other as close as possible. And so Mark has been here next to the drums, and I've been on the other side of the drums. And Mark and Adrian, the drummer, Mark plays the sax, they communicate a lot, which is great. And I don't want to inhibit that, but the bleed from the actual saxophone, so not from the amplified saxophone, but from the actual sax, totally gets way into the omni. And if I try to EQ it or anything like that, I lose so much of the drum kit. I don't want to do that. So I'm trying to figure out where to put the omni. Now, you would think, okay, overhead and behind, right? Which works great for getting the drums. But even though the omni is not directional in nature, the fact that the bass amp is pointed this way, and then if I put it behind, I really lose so much of the character of the bass because it's behind the cone. So I don't want that. I want it to be in front of the bass cone and over by the drums. So I'm trying to figure out how to baffle between the omni and where the saxophone's going to be. And I decided to move Mark. Next time I'll try to move him over here. And I made this short baffle so that he can still see Adrian, but then the saxophone's down lower. So hopefully that will stop some of it. And then I've got these clouds too. And then I've got these floor pads that I stuck together that I think I can hang next to the omni somehow without, I don't know, without obscuring the musicians' views of each other. I don't know. So anyway, that's my challenge, is where to put the Omni in it. And again, overhead sounds best. Behind's no good when I'm trying to get the bass amp too. So I've got to maybe hang it, because if I put it low, right down here, the problem with the Omni is it's not directional, right? So even if it's pointed towards the snare, if it's closer to the kick, it's going to pick up too much of that kick. And so you really got to be careful with the balancing of the instruments based on proximity, not on direction, right? Except with the case of the bass amp, because the cone needs to point towards the mic. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, I'm just interested in getting any kind of advice about this that anybody wants to offer, because these are my tools, and I'm not going to build a fucking studio, you know, so this is it. This is what I have to work with. And it's fun. I think it's a good craft to try to work with something more rudimentary instead of having every tool known to man at your fingertips. That'll just limit your creativity. It won't make it any better.